It is the fan perspective, week 9 in the NFL. Let's talk some fantasy football. First of all, the Patriots, the Jets, the 49ers, and the Rams all have bye weeks. So you're definitely looking for options at halfback and QB. If you have Frank Gore or Tom Brady, not if you have Max Sanchez. Of course, if you have Max Sanchez, you should have been looking for other quarterbacks anyways. There were some trades that happened. The deadline came, and Mike Thomas, wide receiver for the Jaguars, was traded to the Lions, and it kind of shows you how far off he's fallen. I guess just the sad state of the Jaguars, that he was their number one receiver last year, and now suddenly he's going to the Lions, presumably to be the fourth guy on the depth chart. Or maybe it just shows you how talented the Lions receivers are. I don't know. And the Patriots gave away a 4th-round draft pick to get cornerback Aqib Talib from the Bucs. It greatly aids New England's secondary, which has arguably been one of the worst in the NFL. And I think more than anything else, it's also a statement from Schiano saying, no, we're not having that shit here, not on my team. Because Aqib has been a pretty decent player throughout his career. But it's off-the-field stuff that keeps getting him in trouble. And then you have a few injuries this week. Ryan Tannehill left the game last week with a hyperextended left knee, but he's practiced full, and he's practiced fully, and from what I'm hearing, they're expecting him to be out there this week. Percy, Harvin, and Adrian Peterson were limited in practice, but the team is simply resting their best players. They're good to go. Interesting news coming out of Steelers. Jonathan Dwyer has been leading the running game for the past 2 weeks, and I've had him in my fantasy lineup for the last 2 weeks. He's been pretty good, but this week he missed some practice time while Mendenhall and Redman both returned and started getting more reps. Mendenhall and Redman are both doubtful, Mendenhall and Dwyer are both doubtful. Isaac Redman is going to be the starter this week, so feel good rolling with him, especially if you're in the PPR league, because he's the best receiver coming out of the backfield. And for the Steelers, they're facing the Giants this week, and Troy Polamalu still will not return, so you might not want to go with their defense. I mean, they haven't really done anything that spectacular this year anyways, and now they've got a tough matchup. And then, though they did do a good job holding down AJ Green, they didn't create any turnovers, and now they're facing a much better quarterback in Eli Manning, throwing to guys like Victor Cruz and a much healthier Hakeem Nicks. So yeah. And Demarco Murray will miss another game, and the team is definitely going to miss his presence going up against a very tough Atlanta Falcons defense. The Atlanta defense started off so well. They fell off a little recently, but after what New York's defense, the points they got 22 points against Dallas, mostly because Romo turned it over. And I think, as long as that O-line is still suffering through injuries, that every defense is going to get sacks, and of course Romo is going to throw some interceptions. So the Cowboys' offense is always a good matchup for just about any defense in this league. And then You have Darren Sproles, who apparently broke his hand, and he had surgery on that hand, and he's expected to miss at least a month of time, and who knows how much longer. I mean, Darren Sproles, he has so much value as a receiver coming out of the backfield, so this could be a very limiting injury, long-term speaking. And MJD is going to miss another week, and so stick with Rashad Jennings, at least for now. And also, Heath Miller, it has 6 touchdowns on the season. And the only tight end with more fantasy points than him is Gronk. And after seeing what Jason Witten did to the Giants defense, I have no problem calling Miller a must-start this season. I mean, this game, at least. At least for this week, he better be in your lineup, unless you have Witten. Because Gronk is the only one with more points than Miller. Gronk is not playing this week. So Miller, it better be on every fantasy team and starting in every single one of those lineups. And the Minnesota defense was the worst in the league with -3 points last week. But they shouldn't be getting dropped as much as they are because they have a great matchup this week against the Seattle Seahawks, who have yet to score 20 points in any game this season. So, yeah, this has been the Fan Perspective. I'm Nathan Lyle. Tune in on Tuesday for reflections from Week 9. And also, I just felt like mentioning that if Jason Witten catches 4 passes this week, he will pass Michael Irvin for number 1 to be the Cowboys' number 1 all-time receiver.